Growing up, I was actually a fatty. I've just been fluffy my entire life. Like, I don't ever remember being young and looking like my friends. I was literally the only one that was wearing a bigger size, couldn't fit into clothes, and was always embarrassed to go to social events because I didn't like how I looked. So let's do a little rewind about my story. My whole early teens, childhood, I was literally that girl that just ate a lot. And you don't realize actually how much you eat until you've actually changed your whole lifestyle, and then you realize, whoa, Mariam, that was a lot of food. And that's what's happened to me, is now I realize that was really a lot. Not only was I a big foodie, I was completely unactive. Like, my school was a 20-minute walk, which is not a lot. 20-minute, like, door to door, right? Tell me why I used to still get the bus. Just tell me why I used to get the bus. And actually, when I used to get the bus, it used to take me the long way round to school, and I still get the bus. I just was not active. I didn't want to be active. I had no interest in it. I lived on the second floor, and I used to get the lifts. It's small things like that that really add up. Like, there was a lack of burning of calories, and I can't see how that could be helpful. I've actually never told anyone this, and I can't believe I'm about to say it on the internet. But I used to have 2 lunches when I was in school. Like, you know how, like in the UK, right, you get free school dinners, right? Tell me why in school we used to have these tickets, right? And sometimes there was a way, oh my God, there was a way that you can go and get 2 lunches. 2 lunches. So I would get the ticket, get another ticket, and I would use them both on one day. So I would go downstairs to the downstairs lunch hall, and I would get my lunch, and then I would go upstairs and get another lunch, and I would eat them both. And then I would come home after school and I would eat again. Like, that's why I was fat. Like, when I deep it, this is why I was fat. I just used to eat too much. Now, this is not about like that sob story. Oh, I used to get bullied, bruh. I wouldn't say that I used to get bullied, but people used to make remarks about my weight all the time. And as a young woman, that can really play on your insecurity. When you're young, right, I don't feel like you really care about this stuff. Everything is pretty much a joke, and, you know, everything is whatever. But as you get older and you look around and, you know, everyone looks so youthful and so nice, and then you're just kind of there, big, you know, the biggest one in the group. And when people do make comments, it hurts a little bit more as you get older. And then you realize, I don't think I want to be that person anymore. When I was overweight, I wasn't just overweight. I was unhealthy. I couldn't go up the stairs because I felt like that was an extreme sport. And this, by the way, led on until my early 20s. And not only that, I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is when you're overweight and insecure, it actually plays on your whole entire character. I put my hands up. I was a full-on people pleaser. I would literally do things just because I know that someone would be happy if I did that, and I never wanted to disappoint anyone. You see, the thing is, when you're fat, quite frankly, you're fat and unhealthy, you have to kind of compensate in other areas in order for you to be an attractive person in a different way. That may look like being funny, that may look like people pleasing, and that this person is nice. But sometimes when you're people pleasing and this person is nice, it usually puts your own feelings on the back burner. It usually means that you're doing things that you don't really want to do, and you do them just because somebody would like for you to do that thing. And I feel like it has a big impact on your relationships, not just in marriage and spouse kind of relationships, but relationships between family members, brothers, sisters, friends, etc. So my story is, I just spent the beginning of my life pretty much fluffy. And it's funny because I actually never came from an unhealthy household. A lot of people would blame their upbringing as to why they were a little bit on the fluffy side. In my case, that wasn't the case. I was literally the biggest one also in my family. My mum was pretty much healthy. My brother was very healthy. My brother was actually an athlete. My sister, pretty much younger than me, but, you know, she was not on the bigger end either. It was just me. And it's funny because my mum used to see it as, I don't understand, we're all eating the same food. why is it you're not able to lose any weight? Well, she doesn't know I was actually eating 2 lunches in school and eating 2 breakfasts on the way to school. My appetite was large. By the way, that's not changed. My appetite is still large. The only thing is I have to check myself now. That's the difference. Nothing used to ever fit. It was embarrassing. I didn't even know how much I weighed at that time, but I do remember the day that I did decide that I'm going to weigh myself and find out how much I weigh. And that was the day I actually decided to make a change. I remember feeling like I couldn't go to weddings because I would be the ugliest one there, to the extent I stopped going to weddings. I just didn't want to go. And as a Moroccan from West London, there was so many weddings, wedding after wedding during those times, and, you know, events after events, like obviously women only. So that would be the time where people would dress up and look their best. And I just felt like no matter how much I dressed up, I just didn't look my best. I didn't even look mid. I looked below mid. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I believe that when you have got these habits from young of overeating, not being able to be disciplined in any way, you have a lack of activity, etc., those habits tend to stick around for a very long time. At some point, you'll find yourself in your early 20s, some people even in their early 30s, still doing the same things, the same habits that they had from when they were young, because that was their standard at that time, and it's very hard to break through that. I wasn't completely inactive. I used to go swimming. I used to go to different classes, like after school, and I used to enjoy these aspects. But on a day-to-day, I wasn't active. So I'd sit at home. I wouldn't go out too much. I wouldn't walk anywhere. I'll get the bus everywhere. And this is why I was the weight that I was. When I was in my early 20s, I'm 31 now, by the way, I decided that I wanted to make a change. I didn't want to be the fatty anymore. I was absolutely sick and tired of being that person that was the bigger one. And I guess when you get a little bit older, it starts to show a little bit more, and you start to feel a little bit more insecure as well, especially if you are around people that make comments and stuff like that, which used to happen to me. So when I was in my early 20s, I decided I wanted to make a change. But I'm going to tell you guys how I actually decided to make a change. So I had a very nice circle of friends, mashallah, like everyone was pretty much practicing. It was nice. But there were certain people that I used to be around that, honestly, when I think about it now, like, I can't believe someone would do things like that. But that would make comments about my body and say certain things, especially in front of other people. And that made me so insecure, like, to the extent I didn't want to hang out with my friends all the time. It's like, this is actually a very hard conversation. Like, I don't know how I'm going to finish this, but I'm not trying to say the reason why I wanted to lose fat and get fit was because of this, but it played a big role in my day-to-day life. Like, not wanting to go out because of how you looked and wearing these really big abayas because you wanted to hide your body. That is not a life. That's not how it should be, you know. It's really, really hard to maintain a lifestyle like that without it eventually causing depression for most people. So there was a women's only gym that opened up not far from my mum's house. And I remember saying, I'm going to go and check out that gym and see what's up. So me and my cousin went. She may or may not watch this. And we just went to go and have a look. And I remember that day, I went into the gym, was pretty much, to be honest, where was I? Was I in uni or college? Anyway, I was in my early 20s. So to be honest, I didn't have much money at that time. But whatever money I did have, I invested it into a personal trainer and paying for the gym. So I remember when I went into that gym, the first 2 things I did, I put down money for a personal trainer and I put down money for the gym. Up front, boom, 6 months. I was broke for a long time after I did that, not going to lie. But I completely transformed my body. Absolutely worth it. Was it difficult? Yeah. Was it something that I needed to do? Absolutely yes. Anyway, I remember there was a scale on the floor next to the desk. And I said to her, I said to the woman at the front, do you mind if I weigh myself? I just want to see where I'm at. I got on the scale. Boom. 98.7 kg. Just for reference, I'm 5'5.5", 167 centimeters. I was completely overweight. Not just overweight, I was probably within obesity. I was like, what? How? How did I become 98 kg? And then there was other people there that were weighing themselves, and they weigh themselves. They're 60 kg. And they're like, oh man, I've gained so much weight. But move. I'm 98.7 kg, like 98.7 or 98.8. Like that's a lot of weight. And I was so embarrassed, like so embarrassed. I was like, no, this can't be the way for me to be. Like, I'm now in my 20s, I'm still fat, and I'm gonna live the rest of my life like this. Should I just accept myself to be this person? So fast forward, I started working out in the gym. I started working super hard. I had a personal trainer that was helping me train, and obviously because I wasn't into the gym at all, I had no idea what to actually expect from how to work out with like machines or from classes, etc. 6 months from there, I had lost a significant amount of weight, but my food habits were poor. So what would happen? I would rebound. I would end up eating trash again. I didn't know how to eat properly. I didn't know anything about calories. I didn't know anything about the types of foods I should be eating. You know, when you're at the beginning of your weight loss journey, you pretty much think that you need to cut out all these foods. And then when you do that, you end up binging on all those foods on the weekend, and you end up not losing anything for that week because you literally are working backwards. That is not the way to work. You have to have... Anyway, we'll talk about what we have to have later, but at the time, the way that I used to think that I should be eating just fruits and vegetables and protein and just making sure that I'm not eating junk. And then what would happen? A Friday night would come, and then I would end up wanting to eat a little bit more. And then I end up binging and then eating the things that I know that I shouldn't have been eating. And then we start again on Monday, and then I end up in the same cycle again and again. So although I was losing weight, obviously when you're a heavier weight, it's easier for you to lose weight even if you're eating a bit of junk. But that weight significantly slowed down, and then I just found myself stuck. And then I tried to do different diets, like the military diet, if any of you guys remember that. I started taking diet pills. There was these Chinese pills that people used to take back in the day to help you lose weight. But actually all it did was make you feel nauseous, that you don't want to eat. And then when you come off the pills, you just end up gaining all the weight back. So it didn't actually really do much, but I took them. And I think I'd done that for about 2 months, and I did lose weight, and then I gained it all back. So that was fun, wasn't it? And a waste of money. And remember, when you're in your early 20s, you don't really have much money. So me, you know, putting down like 25 pounds at the time wasn't actually money that I had. You know, I just had to keep working to kind of fund this fitness lifestyle because I was doing it all wrong. Had I known what I know today and what I teach in my coaching today, weight loss would have been far more quicker and far more sustainable long term. I remember one time I was sat in a picnic with a few family members that were a little bit older than me. And I remember taking my own lunch to the picnic because I was scared of eating other foods that I knew that I maybe wouldn't be able to eat or wouldn't allow me to lose weight. And I used to do that all the time. Everywhere I used to go, picnics, family households, whatever it is, I'll take my own food. Take my own food all the time, which is, to be honest, not sustainable. Like, it can get really tedious and really lonely when you're doing things like that. But this is my journey, and I'm just telling you guys what I did, right? Anyway, so I used to do that, and I was at this picnic with my cauliflower rice, which I completely hated, and my protein, didn't enjoy it. And someone told me, "Hey, Mariam, have you not thought of calorie counting before?" What the hell's that? What is a calorie? What is a calorie? I don't know what calorie is. What is calorie counting? And this woman is literally the person. She asked me one question that changed my life until today. And I am who I am right now because of that one question. Went home, researched calories and how to eat in a calorie deficit, and it completely changed my life. And now I'm changing other people's lives because now I ask them the same question. Do you know what calorie counting is? So yeah, and from there, it was like a light bulb moment, like ding, why haven't I been calorie counting? And from that day on, I feel like I set myself free. I still had personal training sessions in the gym. I used to go to the gym on a regular basis, except this time I was actually losing a lot more weight and sustaining it long term. So I started counting calories every day. I did that every single day. I did not stop doing that. I was so consistent. And eventually, I lost 37 kg. That was the one missing piece of the puzzle, and it clicked. No matter how much you work out, if you're not counting calories and making sure that you're in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose any weight, because I was doing personal training and working out in the gym consistently 5-6 times a week and barely losing any weight, and then gaining the weight back because I had no idea about nutrition and calorie content. So I was in university at the time and life just became harder. It's harder to maintain a fitness journey when not only are you studying, but you're also working as well. So I was working on the weekend, working in a gym, in that same gym, by the way, that I signed up for, because they had seen I had lost so much weight and they needed a girl at the front doing the desk stuff and the admin stuff. And I pretty much liked the idea of working in a gym because then it gave me more freedom to work out in the gym whilst making money at the time on quiet times. So I was actually quite happy with that. So I was working in the gym on the weekend, and I was working in university on the weekday. And I was pretty much really, really busy, but I still maintained calorie counting, making sure that I was meal prepping if I needed to, making sure that I was eating right even when I didn't want to, even when it felt hard. I was still making the conscious decision that I'm going to do this regardless. There were times where I couldn't work out in the gym as much because I was super, super busy. I couldn't use that time for working out anymore. So I remember I was wearing abaya at the time. Well, I still am, obviously. I used to get ankle weights and wrap them around my ankles. And on my lunch break, I would go out for a walk. So if I'm in university and I've got like an hour off, I wouldn't go and eat. I'll go and do a walk because I knew that I was sat down for too long. And I was doing that 6-7 days a week consistently, making sure that I was getting at least 8,000 steps a day. And that really helped me lose 36 kg and keep it off. I kept up these habits even after I lost weight, but introducing a little bit more food in order to maintain my weight. And from then on, my life just completely changed. I got married. I moved to Saudi Arabia. Side note, I didn't actually lose the whole 36 kg during this entire time. I actually had about 8 to 10 kilos to lose after I got married. I got married and I wasn't 100% happy with where I was. Like, I wanted to lose more weight and look a little bit more leaner. And when I moved to Saudi Arabia, that is where things got super difficult. But the difference between weight loss in the UK and weight loss in Saudi Arabia are two complete different experiences. Now, looking back at it, losing weight in the UK was a walk in the park. Getting fit in the UK was literally a walk in the park. You can't walk in a park in Saudi Arabia. It's hot. There's no walking outside. So you know what? This probably has to be a part 2. We'll talk about how I lost 8 to 10 kg after I moved to Saudi Arabia, because that was honestly the hardest part of my life. So I lost a significant amount of weight in about a 1.5 to like a 2-year time frame. But this is obviously due to me not knowing how to count calories properly, not doing the right thing, doing military diets and trying to find shortcuts, and just not being consistent enough. So I would say from when I actually screwed my head into it, it probably took about 1.5 years to lose about 26 kilos, which is not too bad, to be fair. I should give myself credit for that. I mean, I think I do, but 1.5 years is nothing. 1.5 years is nothing, but it was a struggle. It was a real struggle. But yeah, I think we'll definitely talk about part 2, how Saudi Arabia affected my weight loss and how I was able to lose up to 10 kilos, even not having access to a gym at all. Because where I moved, I didn't have access to a gym. In fact, when I moved, women gyms weren't really a thing either. Oh boy, that's going to be another video. Anyway, see you guys on part 2.